Hello everybody, this is Daniel bringing you guys another packet tracer walkthrough. Today we're going to be going over troubleshooting ACLs 9.4.2.6, and as with every single troubleshooting lab, we're going to be given basically how to solve the troubleshooting error. So let's go ahead and dive into this. So whenever you're looking to troubleshoot ACLs, always note what should and should not be working. So in this case, hosts from the 192.168 network should not be able to access any TCP service. So in this case, that would be both the www, or I guess the HTTP and the FTP services of server 3, but it should be able to access the services of any other server. So let's go ahead and test that out. I like testing FTP first, so let's go ahead and do that. FTP. And let's go ahead and test server 3 first. So 10.255.255.254. Looks like this is getting denied, which is good. It should be getting denied. All right. Let's go ahead and test server 1 next. So server 1 should not be working. Should be working, actually. My bad. I'm trying to find it here, actually. So yeah, should not be otherwise restricted. So this should be able to FTP into server 1. Let's see if that's actually the case. So 172.65.255.254. Looks looking like we can't connect to it. And I'm actually not going to try to connect to server 2. The reason for that being that, L2 knows that server 2 is in the same subnet as it is. So it's actually not going to communicate with the router to, send FTP packets or whatever to server 2. It's just going to go through a switch and it's going to establish communication. So the ACL actually won't apply. The FTP will work. And to prove my statement, I'll actually do it right now. But you can see, bam, we're connected to FTP because it's on a local network. So don't be too concerned about the local network. If the local network is not working, then that means you've got some other problems beyond the ACLs, because the ACLs should not be blocking local area connections. So let's go ahead and test server 3's URL here. Press fast forward so we don't have to wait like 20 seconds. So request timeout, that means that it has blocked the www service of server 3. So that's exactly what it should be doing. I'm going to go ahead and go to server 2's webpage so we can ensure that server 1's is also web request timeout. It's kind of hard to tell when you just go from one website to another and you're not actually sure if it's request timeout or not. So I kind of like doing this. Just go ahead and fast forward a few times. Oh no, where's the network? All right, here it is. Did I actually type in the right IP? Enter. All right, to actually go there. All right, so request timeout, so server 1's not working either. So server 1's www and FTP are not working, but they should be. So this is definitely going to be a problem we have on our ACL. So let's go ahead and run a show access. Actually, let me run a IP domain lookup first. Then let me do show access lists. All right, so the access list of concern here is the 192.10, and we can see that we have a no permit IP any at the end, which would deny all other traffic besides this as well. So if we did put like a deny IP any, we would see the hits here, as that would describe what it would hit, what rule it would hit when L2 tries to communicate to the, the 172 network? I think it's the 172 network, yeah. So let's go ahead and fix that. So if we want to permit everything else going through, then we're just going to run a permit IP any, which is besides, after it's done checking if it needs to block or not, it's just going to let everything else through. So now the FTP and the WW will work. I could run tests, but kind of don't want to since I already got the points for it. All right, so looking at ACL issue 2. So hosts from the 10.0.0.8 network are unable to access the HTTP server of server 1, but should not otherwise be restricted. Service, my bad, not server. So let's just do the same old shebang again. Go to L1. Let's see here. Right, start with the FTP. So FTP should be working for everyone, since we're not actually denying all TCP services this time. So let's go ahead and start off with server 1, since why not? Okay. Wait, this is the wrong PC actually. I should be on L3. My bad, guys. I just noticed I was on the same network as the server. Doesn't make sense for me to test on that one, so let me just move over here. Okay, so this should be happening. Just quit. So this should be happening. We should be able to communicate with the FTP service of anything. Any of the 3 servers. Okay, so that's good. Let's get out of that and move on to the web browser. So we should not be able to access the www for server 1. So let's go ahead and test that right here. 172.65.254. Okay, so this should not be happening. We should not be able to access server 1. Server 1's www. So let's try, is this 192? Yeah, no, it's not. Okay, so let's go ahead and try server 2's. And let me fast forward, even though it's probably not going to work. Oh, wait, server 2. Oh, yeah, it's working. Didn't notice this. Okay. So server 1, server 2 are working. Again, not going to check server 3 because it's on the same network as all 3. Helps me absolutely do nothing with the ACL rules itself. So we noticed that it should have been denying HTTP of server 1 when it in fact was allowing it. So again, this suggests a problem with the access list. So the one notice here is 10 to 1. Wait a second. It's 10 to 172. 10, yes, 10 to 172. Server 1? Did server 1 work? Let me check again. It shouldn't have, and yet I think that's what it was supposed to do. So server 1. Okay. Well, from this we can see that, yeah, it should be blocking server 1. This rule is not incorrect by any means, but for some reason we're only getting hits on permit IP any. If I run this again, we just get more hits on it. So if it's not a problem with the access list, right, then it has to be a problem with how it was placed. So let's go ahead and do a show run, and I'm just gonna begin at 10. We can just go through a whole show run, I guess. It's not that long, so it's not that bad. And we can see here that it was applied as an outbound interface instead of an inbound interface. So the reason why this isn't going to really do anything is because outbound interface traffic is only concerned about traffic that's like flowing from these networks and comes out of this one to these things. But since the source IP of what's coming from here is never actually going to be this 10.0.0 whatever network, it's always just going to allow it through. So it's always hitting the permit IP any. So if you want to fix this, let's go ahead and get into G00. We want to replace that rule, so no IP access group 10 to 172 out. And we want to replace that with a IP access group inbound, because inbound will actually look at packets as they're coming into just router interface. And there we go, got our 30 points. And finally, number 3, so let's just go ahead and, so let me make sure I get the right PC this time. Should not be able to access FTP of server 2, so let's go ahead and test that first. Quit. What is server 2? So FTP 192.168.0.254. Okay, so it should not be able to access that. We got a problem here. But everything else should be allowed, so what is the other one? So server 3 should be able to access server 3. 10.255.255.254. And boom, we got it working. Okay, so let's get out of here. Check if the web browsers are working. The web servers, I mean. So let's go ahead and check server 3. Okay, check server 1. I think server 1 is the one we were worried about here. Oh no, server 2 actually. My bad. But at any rate, all 3 of them work, so it doesn't really matter. So the fact that we were allowed to FTP onto server, what was it again? Server 2, but we should have not been able to. Again, it's just a problem with either the placement of the ACL or the ACL rule itself. So let me do a show access list. And, well, if we look at this here, we can see that the permit IP any was set before this rule, which means that all packets are basically going to be allowed through. This is not the IP in the sense of just like layer 3 packets. It's the IP as in like TCP, UDP, ICMP, all traffic basically. So it's not going to be denying any traffic. So to fix this, let's go ahead and change the rules. So just get to ACL configuration mode. Let's do 10. This way we don't have to do like no 10, no 20, and then type the rules because that can be tedious. I could copy the ACL rule, but I'm also too lazy at this point since I'm more than halfway through. And if I didn't type one more 0, that'd be great. And 20 permit IP any. That should be it. Waiting for it. Unless this doesn't work, which I'd be pretty upset about. So let me just run show access list. Oh wow, actually, that'll work. Okay, so let me just do a no. So if you want to remove specific ACEs, access control entries, or just like one of these rules from the ACL, you can always just run extended. You can always do like a no 10 and no 20, and it'll erase both of those rules. If I just go back here, bam, this access list is empty, but it's not erased because, you know, making an access list from scratch is kind of a pain. So sometimes I only choose to wipe one rule. In this case, I wipe both, but it doesn't really matter. So extended 2, 1, and 2. So let me just go ahead and copy these commands. Let me go ahead and pull up Notepad. New. So this should be 10. This should be 20. Then let me just paste it in here. And there we go. So the fastest way if you want to edit rules and for some reason like just a strict replacement's not working, you can just like wipe the access list and retype it on Notepad++, paste it in, and it should be fine. Or Notepad too, but you know, Notepad's for scrubs. So anyway, that's it for this lab. Nothing too crazy going on here. Pretty simple overall. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys again next week.